Bleach is ending this July and it's not even my number one. Let me explain. We're getting the biggest shonen finale of the decade, the king of isekai returning after a 2-year gap, and a Korean webtoon adaptation everybody's already tagging as the next solo leveling, all inside a single month. The schedule runs hot from the first week of July to the last. Cyberpunk gunfights, sword duels, dungeon crawls, and a skeleton mercenary cutting his way through another world. That's the range we're working with this season. Some of these are sequels fans have waited 4 years for. A couple are brand new adaptations that could pop off overnight. I ranked the 10 best anime to watch this July for the action, fantasy, and isekai crowd, and my number one is going to start a fight. Let's get into it. Number 10 is I Became a Legend after my 10-year-long last stand. Quick heads up before the comments ride. This one's high fantasy, not pure isekai, so I'm flagging it now. The hook is mean. A mage named Luck tells his party to run while he holds the line against the demon horde, fully expecting to die buying them a few minutes. He just doesn't die. He keeps swinging alone, stuck in the gap between worlds, while 10 years quietly roll past. By the time he walks back out, Luck has become a living legend who has no clue he's famous. Studio Geku is animating it off Ezojin Gitoon's light novels with Hiroyuki Kanbei directing, and the premiere got bumped from April to July 6th. That's the kind of delay I read as a good sign. Number 9 is From Overshadowed to Overpowered, and it runs on my favorite isekai trope done right. A guy from modern Earth reincarnates into a world where magic works, and he pours his entire life into learning it. Here's the real gut punch. He's born with almost no talent, so after years of grinding he dies as a washed up middling mage eaten alive by regret. Death isn't the end for him. He reincarnates a second time carrying 400 years of magic theory in his head, dropping into an era where magic has fallen off hard. The washout of the past wakes up as the most knowledgeable mage breathing. He walks into a magic academy run by a woman named Marin and bodies everyone in the building. EMT Squared handles the adaptation, Shuichiro Umida voices the MC Eftal, and it airs this July. Knowledge beating raw talent is the whole appeal, and that hook never gets old for me. Before we hit number 1, is the list is doing it for you? You already know what to do. Number 8 is the world's strongest rearguard Labyrinth country's novice seeker. Arihito Atobe is a burned out salary man whose ordinary morning ends with a fatal bus crash. That's a rough way to go. He wakes up reborn in a dungeon crawling world where fighters are called Seekers, and his class role hands him the Rearguard, a role that reads like dead weight on paper. The paper is lying! The Rearguard buffs attack, holds the line on defense, and heals all at once, which quietly makes him the most important slot in any party. Arihito builds a strong squad and starts clearing the labyrinth floor by floor. Mahou is animating it off the light novel. The season runs 12 episodes and it premieres July 5th. Classic underrated class power fantasy and an easy pickup for dungeon crawler fans. Number 7 is The Exiled Heavy Knight knows how to game the system. Elmer comes from a famous bloodline of sword saints and his life detonates at the class ceremony. When he pulls the Heavy Knight, the class everyone writes off as a defective dud. His own father slaps him and kicks him out of the house. That part really stings. Here's the power scaling flip. Elmer recognizes this place because it's the exact game he played in his past life, and he knows the one thing nobody else does. The Heavy Knight is secretly one of the strongest classes once you learn the build. What tells me is that he earns every win with game knowledge, not brought armor. Gohans is running it as a full 2-core adaptation, so it gets a longer runway than a normal single season. SPYAI Air handles the OP with a track called Awake, and it reportedly premieres in the first week of July. Number 6 is The Elusive Samurai Season 2 with Cloverworks back on animation duty. Season 1 hit in 2024 and blindsided people, taking real 14th century Japanese history of Yusei Matsui's Shonen Jump manga and turning it into something tense, funny, and gorgeous to watch. The MC is Tokiyuki Hojo, a young noble whose whole family gets slaughtered in a coup when he's 8 years old. He's far too small to win head-on. Speed, misdirection, and pure evasion are his entire game, and somehow it works. Cloverworks went all out on the Sakuga in Season 1, and those evasion sequences were some of the cleanest action of that whole year. Season 2 is reportedly arriving this July, though the exact date still isn't locked. If they bring the same hand-drawn care, this is going to look incredible. Number 5 is Skeleton Knight in Another World Season 2, and this comeback has been a grind to get here. Season 1 aired in 2022, ran 12 episodes, then vanished for 4 straight years. Most people had given up on it. The premise is peak isekai. A gamer nods off mid-session and wakes up locked inside his own character, which happens to be a full skeleton in heavy plate armor. Anybody who glimpses under the helmet reads him as a monster, so he keeps the face hidden and works as a wandering mercenary off Enki Hakari's light novels. Here's the contrast that carries the show. He is absurdly OP and way too soft-hearted to walk past someone getting hurt, so he keeps stepping in against slavers and corrupt nobles. Season 2 brings back the elf Ariane and his fluffy spirit beast Ponta as the bigger threats start moving, with director Katsumi Ono returning. There's one real catch. A new outfit or a studio took over from the original team after the gap, so the look is the real question mark, and the early footage has fans cautiously hyped. July 4th is the premiere, Crunchyroll has the stream. If you skipped season 1, this is your window to binge it first. Number 4 is The Ghost in the Shell, and this is a heavy one. July 7th is the premiere, streaming worldwide on Prime Video, fresh episodes every Tuesday. Science Azuyu is on it, the same studio that animated Dandadan, and they're doing a full retelling straight from Masamune Shiro's original cyberpunk manga with director Mako-chan steering. The setting is 2029. The whole planet is wired into one massive network, and Major Motoko Kusanagi runs an elite unit called Section 9 that hunts cybercrime and buried conspiracies before they detonate. The early trailers already showed sleek gunfights and those creepy cute spider tank robots called Tachikoma. Here's why this matters. Ghost in the Shell basically sold cyberpunk anime to a whole generation back in the 90s, so a fresh retelling carries real weight. Science Azuyu is leaning into the rougher manga art style over the glossy movie look, and I think this could be the best the franchise has ever looked. Do not sleep on it. Number 3 is Tomb Raider King, and if Solo Leveling left a hole in your watch list, this is the patch. July 8th is when Studio EEK drops it, the same team that worked on Netflix's Love, Death and Robots, adapting a massively popular Korean webtoon. The MC is Joo-hon, Suk, a relic hunter who gets sold out by his own employers and left for dead. Then the timeline snaps. He wakes up 15 years in the past, before the world's mysterious tombs and their magic relics ever surfaced, with full memory of everything coming. He uses the head start to grab the strongest relics first and climb the power scaling fast. The relic system is the hook. Every artifact has its own personality and backstory, and a few of them straight up argue with him. This MC isn't a soft nice guy lead either. He's sharp, ruthless and fine with playing dirty. Fans have called it the next Solo Leveling since the first trailer, and the comparison holds up. This is the one I'd bet on this season. Number 2 is Bleach 1000 Year Blood War, the Calamity. And yeah, parking this at number 2 is going to start a war down in my comments. This is the final core of the entire adaptation, and it's still the single biggest anime event of the summer. Studio Pierrot brings it back this July, and the wait on this thing is enormous. Part 1 of 1000 Year Blood War aired all the way back in October 2022 across 13 episodes, and we're finally at the last stretch of the whole story. Everything funnels down to Ichigo Kurosaki and the Soul Reapers making their final stand against Yowa and his Quincy army, the Sternritter. Every thread building since Bleach first aired in 2004 pays off right here. Creator Tite Kubo has stayed hands-on, and this final core reportedly packs in even more anime original material, stretching the last fights past what the manga ever showed. Pierrot pushed the release back on purpose to protect the Sakuga, and the new preview already looks cinematic. The exact July date still isn't locked, but it streams on Disney Plus and Hulu the day it drops. This is the end of one of the big three. If you grew up on Ichigo, this one hits right in the chest. The only reason it isn't sitting at number 1 is the show I'm about to name. Number 1 is Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation Season 3. I know, ranking it over the Bleach finale is a bold call. Here's why it earns it. Fans don't just like this show, they call it the king of isekai, and on a list built for the isekai and fantasy crowd, the king takes the crown. Studio buying the studio built from the ground up just to adapt this light novel brings it back July 5th. Here's the setup at its purest. A jobless shut-in dies, reincarnates as a baby named Rudius in a world full of magic and swords, and decides to live this second life without regret. 2 seasons in, we've watched Rudius grow up, learn real magic, and slowly become a better person. The headline is Eris. The fiery swordswoman who walked off at the end of season 1 finally returns, and the trailers show her coming back as a hardened sword fighter after years of brutal training. The group heads to a floating fortress ruled by a being named Perugius right as a deadly magical illness drops one of their friends into real danger. Studio Bind animates this at a tier most shows can't reach, and Ryosuke Shibuya is back in the director's chair. Season 2 wrapped in July 2024, so it's been a clean 2-year wait. The emotional gut punch this arc is building toward is supposed to be rough. For isekai fans, nothing else dropping this July comes close. That's my number 1, and I'm standing on it. That's my list of the 10 best anime to watch in July 2026. The King of Isekai back on top, a legendary shonen finale right behind it, the next big power fantasy, and a stacked wall of sequels and fresh adaptations, all landing in the same month. Out of everything here, which single show are you starting first the second it drops? And did Mushoku Tensei really deserve number 1 over the Bleach finale? Drop your pick in the comments, I read them all. If this helped you map out your July, make sure to smash that subscribe button for more anime content just like this. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.